All right, let's talk about how you can look like an established business without an established business's budget, right? So this is part 2 of a series we're doing on building a brand without a big budget. And this is a really great episode. I'm actually trying to fit a lot into this. We're going to cover what visual cues you can bring into your graphics to create credibility quicker. 3 areas that most budget brands kind of let themselves down, plus how you can audit your business and your graphics to find out what's working and what you might be missing right now. Because like I mentioned last week, you don't necessarily have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to have a professional brand, but there are some really important things that you do need to know to do it right. And this series is covering just that. And make sure you hang around to the end, because the last question I want to share with you in the audit is going to be one that if you miss, your audience aren't going to realize that you are someone that they can trust with their hard-earned money. So let's dive on in. So hello, if we have not met yet, welcome to my podcast. I am thrilled to have you here. My name is Jacqui, and I am a professional graphic designer who is obsessed with teaching everyday business owners how they can use branding, graphics, Canva to create their own incredible business graphics. And this episode, as I mentioned, is part 2 in our Building a Brand Without a Big Budget series. And as we dive in today of how you can create a brand that looks established without that big budget, I want to speak to why this is actually important. Because why do I want to, I have businesses that are like, oh, Jacqui, I'm just starting out. Why do I need to look professional right now? I'm just starting out. Why do I need to look like a 6-figure brand? And Jacqui, I just don't have the money to do that. Firstly, I spoke to this a little bit last week. The more established a business looks, the more likely someone is going to trust you. As consumers, we are looking for reasons to not trust a business. And if I go to someone's Instagram page, for example, and I see 10 followers, I can assume that their business is brand new. But if they had a few posts and an established brand that went along with that, my brain would think, oh, are they brand new? Or maybe they've only just started their Instagram account and they've been around for a while. My brain is much more likely to trust them when they have that established looking brand because it seems like it's been thought through. It seems like it's existed. It seems trustworthy. Whether or not you've been in business for 1 week or 10 years, we can help people trust us faster through strong branding and graphics. And I actually think this works the opposite way for more established businesses. Some of the biggest business coaches I see have less fancy brands, but that's because they've got the numbers to help us to trust them. Whereas when we're newer and we don't yet have the numbers to create that trust in our brand and in our business and the thousands of glowing testimonials, we need our brand to do that signaling for us. We need our graphics to say, hey, this is someone worth trusting. And so when your audience sees your graphics, they're not necessarily responding to, oh, it looks like this person spent X amount of money. They're responding to how intentional the brand looks. Is it cohesive? Is there restraint? Is there consistency across the things that I'm seeing here? They're not necessarily looking for wildly complex logos or fonts that cost $1 million, because you can't tell when a font costs a lot of money versus when it's a free Canva one. But what you can tell is it consistent? Is it intentional? And so oftentimes when we're building a strong brand, it's actually about having less, but doing that really intentionally, having something that people can connect with rather than something that's really convoluted. So I want to chat through with you now some visual cues that can build instant credibility. Then after this, we're going to get down to 3 areas that most budget brands fall over, and then we'll get to our audit in case you want to know where we're sitting inside the episode. So some things that might make your brand look established, if that's what you're wanting to feel like, you're wanting people to trust you sooner, I want you to make sure that you're using consistent imagery. Last week I spoke about making sure you have the 4 elements of a brand: a logo, consistent fonts, consistent colors, and a consistent visual style. The main thing that carried across all of those is consistency, is that idea that you're using the same things over and over. You're using the same fonts, the same style, the same colors over and over and over again, because that's what people can connect to. Like if I go to a restaurant and one day it's serving me really great Italian and the next day they're like, oh, hey, we're starting a Spanish shop and then we're going to start a sushi train and then we're going to do this and this and this. My brain's like, well, hold on, you can't possibly be doing all of that well, right? And it's the same with our business. If we just keep on switching what we look like, 1, they're not going to be able to recognize us, but 2, it promotes a distrust. It promotes a second guessing of the business, whereas consistency breeds connection. Something else visually that you can do to cue that you're a more established and professional business is to use a little concept called white space. I'm going to share with you how you can learn more about this concept soon. But in essence, white space isn't the color white and space. It's not just having white empty space on your design, but it is having space that not really much is happening. Maybe your background color or your background texture without having text or icons or imagery absolutely covering every square inch of your graphic. When you have white space, your design looks far more professional. It's literally one of the best hacks that you can do when you're creating your own graphics. Don't fill up all of the spots. leave some space around the edges, leave space between different elements, different paragraphs, between your heading and your subheading, between your heading and your paragraph. Leave room. That's what's going to help to open up your design, make it easier to read, and also signal to your audience you're more professional. Some other things to consider is pairing your fonts well, making sure that the fonts you're using actually go well together and they complement each other rather than fighting. Again, I've got a way that you can see more of this soon. As well as not having like a whole rainbow color palette that's all very different. You need to have colors in your color palette that are speaking the same message, that are maybe all neutrals, that are maybe all calm, that are maybe all vibrant, whatever it is that needs to have that consistency. So again, it's speaking that same message to your audience. And the last thing I want to touch on here is photography. Like I mentioned last week, you can take your own photos with your iPhone. That's not necessarily, or whatever phone you have, that's not necessarily going to degrade your brand. What's going to probably mostly degrade your brand is if you're constantly just using AI photos or stock photos that look really stock photo-y. There is a space for AI photos and there is a place for stock imagery, but if you're using that all of the time, it tells your audience that you're hiding. And I don't want the business that I'm working with to be hiding. I want to get to know them and get to trust them, even if they have an extra pound or two that they haven't lost yet, even if they've just taken a great photo in some natural lighting with their phone. That signals more trust to me than just tons of AI imagery, even though, I get to make an imagery of someone fancy sitting at a desk. I don't care about that fancy person sitting at a desk. I care about you. So doing that in your imagery, like most big brands, we're connecting with that brand. If it's a personal brand, like I say, a business coach or a course creator, for example, we're connecting with them because we can see them, because we can build that visual relationship with them. Whereas if I'm never seeing someone, I'm just seeing a ton of random imagery or stock things that are just plonked everywhere, I can't build trust with that. I can't build connection with that. And so now I want to speak to 3 areas where a lot of businesses fall down in terms of creating a budget brand. One is logo overuse. A lot of businesses are like, I've got a logo now. I'm just going to whack it on everything. Don't do this. It actually makes your designs way too busy and your logo isn't actually necessary, especially when you've built out a full brand. When you have your fonts, colors, and style, your logo is a lot less necessary. For example, if you want to go to my Instagram page, my handle is white deer, GD, the color white, the animal deer, and the letters GD. If you go there, try to find my logo. You'll probably actually barely see it. I don't even know the last time I used my logo on an Instagram post. You just don't need it. Sometimes I reference my Instagram handle, but beyond that, it's my actual brand that's doing the storytelling, that's doing the connecting, that's creating that recognizability for my business. So that's a big telltale sign, is just using your logo everywhere, using it way too big and making that the hero of your design rather than what you're actually communicating in that flyer or that Instagram post. The next mistake I see, which I've kind of mentioned before in our last section, was not having a font system. So not having the same 2 to 3 fonts that you're using over and over again in your business. When you have this inconsistency, again, it signals distrust. And the third thing is to avoid color creep. This is where you slowly add colors onto your brand over and over and over again. And by the end, you actually have a whole range of colors instead of like a really consistent color suite. You could have 20 colors in your color palette, but they should be picked really intentionally. Say I decided my brand was pink and white and gray, and I had maybe a dark pink and a light pink and a dark gray and a light gray, and that was my brand. If I just saw a cute template on Canva and then decided to bring in a yellow, that could work as long as I keep using that yellow forever. But then the next time I looked into Canva and I found a cool blue template, and then the next time I saw a dark green template, and the next time I saw a fluoro pink template when my pink was actually more of a calm pink, if I'm not changing those designs to suit my actual brand colors and I'm just starting to use those in my graphics, that's called color creep. That's what's going to be a telltale sign that you're just DIYing your graphics. We want to try to avoid this color creep. But the good thing is a lot of these things are actually fixable when you do it intentionally, when you know what you're looking for. So I'm going to give you some questions now that you can ask yourself so that you can determine, is this something I need to start working on? Do I need to give this a little bit of attention in my business on that budget so that I can do this the right way? Because again, it's not necessarily about spending thousands of dollars outsourcing. Sometimes it's just about getting the right tools in your tool belt and understanding how this works properly so that you can make the right decisions going forward so you can grow your business faster, because that's what this is all about. You're not just having and choosing a pretty brand for the sake of having a pretty brand. This pretty brand, like we said, is going to signal to our audience that we're worth trusting, when people can trust us. And when people can trust us, they're far more likely to purchase from us. So what I want you to do is find wherever you've created the most amount of graphics. If you've been posting consistently on social media, maybe look at your last 9 Instagram posts, or if you've created a flyer, or if you've created a DIY website, or if you've created anything visual from your business, I want you to pull up as many of those things as you can find. Instagram's the easiest if you have been posting, but if not, find as many graphics as you can that you've created recently for your business. Once you've got those up, I want you to ask yourself these questions. 1, have I been using one color palette throughout all of them? Or can I see a little bit of color creep? Is there consistency? Am I always using my pink and white and gray color palette? Or am I tweaking it up and maybe my flyer looks different to my Instagram post, or maybe my first Instagram post looks wildly different to my last Instagram post? Can I see consistency, or have I allowed the color creep to creep on in? Right, that's the first one. The second one is, am I using the same 2 to 3 fonts in all of my graphics? Again, I've spoken about this earlier in the episode, but it's so important. Literally look at those graphics you've been creating, and have you been using the same fonts? You should only be using 2 to 3 fonts in all of your graphics. In all of your posts and all of your flyers should have the same 2 to 3 fonts. I only have 2 fonts in my whole business, but it can still look great even with a couple of fonts when you use them the right way. And so ask yourself, am I using the same fonts, or have I just found a cute template and used that cool one over there? Or did I get distracted with a cute font that time and use that instead, just as a once off? But then, oh, look, I start using it again. And next minute, you've got all these different fonts everywhere. Because what does that mean? Your audience can't connect with that. They're not being able to form a form of recognizability with you. The next question to ask is, am I overusing my logo? If you can see your logo too many times, more than once on a flyer, if you can see it pretty much at all on your social media, unless it's like a really small little icon at the bottom or top of an Instagram post, start getting rid of that a little bit. You don't need your logo there that much, because you're going to have those consistent fonts and style that's going to carry you across instead. And lastly, when you step back and you look at all of those graphics, does it feel like they're coming from the same place? Could someone look at one graphic and then look at one of the other random graphics, and could they tell that the same business made them, or do they feel different? When you can get this question and you can say yes confidently that they do look like they're coming from the same place, that's when you know you're starting to make some traction, that you have built something that people can begin to recognize. And there is more to it. It's not just about this consistency, because if you're using the wrong brand consistently, that's going to deter from people. But I do want you to make sure you're focusing on that consistency. And this doesn't mean you need to start over if you don't see consistency. You just need to almost look at what you have been doing. Notice if there is any little bits of consistency that you can pull from. Make yourself a little style guide. Start to follow some rules so you can create that trust with your business. Now, I talked about a few things in this episode: style guides, choosing the right fonts, using white space. I actually go over all of these things really visually in a free masterclass, and I'd love to invite you to it. It's called Design Tools to Get to 100K Online. And in there, I'm going to share with you design mistakes you're probably making that is costing you credibility. One of those is white space. I'm also going to share with you a free style guide template so that you can build out your own brand style guide and start to use your colors, your fonts, and everything consistently in your business. Plus, I'm going to do a live Canva demo and show you some incredible Canva shortcuts that are going to start saving you hours in the process. So make sure you sign up for that masterclass. You can just grab your free ticket at whitedeer.com.au/free masterclass, or click the link in the show notes and you'll be able to join me for that session. And next week, make sure you join me for our third and final part of this Building a Brand Without a Big Budget series, because by now, hopefully you've got the fonts, you've got the colors, but there are some design mistakes you might be making that is signaling to your audience that you aren't quite a pro yet. So I'll see you for that one soon. Bye.